Okay, we're back. The next episode of the Jeff Hilliard Show. We're doing it, the parade of narcissism. The campaign is marching forward. Jake is back. He was in Utah.
I was in Utah camping, just exploring my masculinity.
That's good. That's good. I thought maybe you were doing like, hey, maybe in the future everyone's going to be homeless, so I should maybe see what it's like living out there in the wild.
It was a tremendous training.
That's good. Or you were mocking the homeless people.
A little bit of both.
It could go either way.
Yeah.
Or you were on a campsite yelling at people for camping because there's people that are homeless right now and you're just out here doing this for fun when people are literally reduced to this.
It actually, you get it, though. You get in the tent, you go out in nature. I just don't understand why they're here. Why wouldn't they just go to the middle of the country? It's like amazing.
Well, because you got to have food and stuff. You got to have a hustle. I don't think in the middle of nowhere you're going to be able to make anything happen.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult, folks. I'm worried about the that they're not extending the unemployment and all that sort of stuff. It's terrible. The welcome to the dystopian nightmare, but who gives a shit about that? Because I'm in the middle of doing the verbal, long memoir, a man striving for mediocrity, the world of a midlife crisis, a full-on self-obsession. Hey, look at me. No, seriously, look at me. That's what you do. If you want to fit into the youth and you're in your midlife crisis, this is what your life is now. Get your fucking TikTok account, get your OnlyFans page. You know, it's all about look at me, and that's what we're doing. My whole life has been this like weird detour. Like there's a specific thing I should be doing, but in order to do that, I'm doing like 5 things over here so I can do more of that. That's what happened. That's what we're doing, man. I know that I have a request from one of the Patreon. There's some people on the Patreon, which is amazing. I don't know why you're not on there, loser. Sorry. But yeah, you should definitely be into the Patreon. So she wants to know about the world. I was a personal trainer, believe it or not. That was a strategy I came up with to make it to Los Angeles. The idea that anyone cares about these stories is amazing. But the messages are amazing. I'm getting messages that people are actually listening to this and they're into it. So we're going to keep plowing forward and through this as if I've had some extreme and incredible accomplishments. And people are just like, oh my God, how did he get there? How did this happen? You know, and that's what we're doing. Okay, so how did it happen? So I was in college. I told you before I graduated high school, I was told I had a 1 in 99% chance of graduating college. We talked about the frontal lobe damage. I was a solid C student. There's 30% of a lot of shit I don't know about. I was just trying to get a C. I'm just trying to be mediocre. I'm striving for that. Not easy. By the time I was 18, I was drinking every single night. There wasn't like a thing where it was like, this is like, I know a lot of kids now, they might have family where let's say you had like a creative kid that was into music and you would have him into some performing arts school or something like that. That really wasn't going on in my world. So when I was 17, I was told that we're destitute and to figure it out. And then when I was in college, my dad went to prison. So yeah, I lived. But it's the privilege thing. You know what I mean? I do have my privilege I got to deal with, but I didn't have enough privilege. So the thing was, I been in survival mode for a really long time. So I was just a guy working like 50 jobs, trying to figure out what to do with the frontal lobe damage, and I was drunk every single night. I kind of just lived that suicide ideation. I could just die any moment now and it'd be okay. So I didn't have long-term plans. Like there wasn't like I'd come up with strategies of how to survive. But we'll get into how I got into the fitness thing, which is pretty fucking hilarious when you're like a full-blown alcoholic and you become a personal trainer.
The cokehead.
Yeah, the cocaine didn't happen until I got to Los Angeles at a party for a fitness party. Those people have the biggest drug problem probably on the planet is the people who work in the fitness industry. So we got it. I guess I got to really set it up. How the hell? Because there's a lot of things that happen before. You don't just jump into that. You have to have a lot of. I was completely lost, folks. And excuse me for being so lost. I had a bare neck, you know? I had a mullet when I was 16, and then I got conned back into the world of having a bare neck, which is just you're trying to fit in. You're trying to fit into the rest of the world with that look, and which were, for me, were lost years of just constantly drunk. Wasted years trying to fit in, folks. Man. Okay, let's do this. How did I fucking get there? So I was in college. I was drunk. Oh, I was in a class. I was in this communication studies class, because that's what you do. It's a major you do when you are just a jackass. You become a communication studies major. So at one point I figured like if I could do sales, because I was working like as a bartender, a waiter in sororities. I had like a business where I was booking bands in the Greek system, and I would DJ. I mean, I was the guy who had 7 jobs. Like I was at any semester I was gonna somehow I was told I would never graduate from college, which kind of sucks because then I had to prove them that I could do it, which I wish they would have just been like, I don't know. I should have just went to Chicago when I was a kid if someone had told me what to do and just been like, did Second City when I was like 18, and then my whole life would have made sense. But everything was always like all roundabout way. I didn't know that I could do that stuff. I didn't know that was a possibility. So, boy, this guy is going around the corner and he hasn't even really said much of anything. So I'm in this class, and we were studying the heuristics of communication patterns of, I don't even know what it means, different ways you would approach any situation. What would be the best way to communicate something? You'd have to identify the situation and then the different modes, whatever. So I was selected. There was a few people in my class selected to work with a director from the theater, and we would do this on camera. And so I got selected, and then I was doing it, and I was like, holy shit, this is like playing sports. And then I thought, fuck, this would be fun to be like a character actor, playing. So I'm literally like doing like Jack Nicholson in the class, like it's over. I'm just throwing down Oscar-winning performances that do not fit into what
class.
Yeah, this director is just like, this guy's mentally ill, which I was. Literally like full, like I'm in The Shining. Like I love The Shining, and I'm doing Jack Nicholson The Shining in the class. Like that level of like commitment and rage. I remember the professor's like, he was just like, do you think that's the best way to handle that situation? And I'm like, dude, we're fucking getting some tape, some footage here. Do we get the footage? Are you going to cast me in a feature film? Like, that's how lost I was. It's so great. When you're drunk every single night, it's fucking amazing, the stuff you get into. So I'm in the class, I'm doing that, and I'm thinking like, well, maybe I should take some acting classes. Now, this is in the University of Kansas. Now, people in the drama department in like college or high school are they need a lot of attention, and they're probably good kids, and they're trying to go about getting attention the right way. A guy like myself just does not like these characters. Just really obnoxious and just no disrespect. I mean, that's the right way to have done to become a professional. But they were doing like impromptu on campus. It's like, get the fuck away. Like I've been doing characters my whole life to make that was my survival mode. That's how I bartended. I would put a show on for people to get tips. I was basically a dancing monkey. I would have been a vaudeville actor back in the day if I would, to survive. That's my way that's what you do when you have that Irish blood in you. You're a drunken, singing character. Okay, so now we're in there. So now I got the acting bug, which is what you would say, right? And I'm like, how the hell would you make a living as an actor? Because it's like the hardest thing in the world, and that's impossible. So I had to figure out a strategy. I was with a friend one weekend. We went to Colorado, and I was sitting next to this guy from Denver to Boulder. We were going to see a football game, and he owned an entertainment company, did all these feature films, and I told him what I want to do, and he goes, you got to move to Los Angeles, and gave me his business card. Now, I'm a master of getting business cards from influential people that are totally legit, and then there's no follow-through. I don't even know where the card goes. I didn't have any kind of guidance over me that was really I was just a lost fool. And that's what you do when you're a fool, is you have the doors open, you just don't know how to walk through it. So I came up with a game plan, and I had to figure out, like, how the fuck am I going to get to Los Angeles, and how am I going to survive? Now, the funny thing is, I'm already like a bartender and stuff. I could have just fucking moved and got a job working in a restaurant and been fine. But when you're inadequate and nothing's good enough, when you have the low self-esteem, you're coming up with these ridiculous strategies. So and the way I thought was, like, if I became a personal trainer, if I was homeless, I would have a place to shower. That was my thought process. That is just like, how pathetic and sad is your strategy? So then they always be like, it's kind of who you know and blah, blah. And I remember I was drunk at the bar, and I told my friend, I go, I'm going to become a personal trainer. And I'm going to move to Los Angeles, and I'm going to get a job working at the nicest health club in Los Angeles. He literally laughed in my face. Like, this, in between like a cigarette and a drink. And I mean, like what? I'm like, and I'm going to become an actor. I'm going to do, like a character actor. I'm going to play weird characters in movies. And this is when Sling Blade came out, and I was a huge fan of Billy Bob Thornton. And so then I started taking these like theater classes. I took improv. I got an agent. I acted in a couple like student films. I got an agent in Kansas City. Did some commercials. So the acting thing's going on. I was a good-looking kid. I was fucking dreamy back in the day. God damn, I could have been somebody. If I just would have been into dudes, I could have fucking had a career. You know what I mean? Like that kind of fucking. I mean, now I would be into it in a heartbeat, but no one's giving those kind of offers today, But so I did with an agency, and they would do like print work as well, which I was like, which was kind of funny. I just thought of myself as a fool, but I was the kind of guy that like they would call. I guess I would have been what the incels call a Chad.
Yes.
I was able to. Have consensual sexual relationships with the ladies, and they would actually pursue me because I was like that perfect, pretty decent looking kid, and I was intoxicated all the time, so I had no ability to I was emotionally unavailable and drunk, and that's where you want to be. Where did I even go on that? Oh, okay, so I'm becoming a personal trainer. I don't know why I went on that stupid tangent. Oh, I know. Okay, so. It's a frontal lobe damage. You don't know what you're talking about half the time. You get lost in some tangent. That's from the PTSD. And then so now I'm going en route to become I learned you have to get certified. I start taking the classes. Dude, I'm in a fucking anatomy class. I mean, we're with a cadaver. Now I'm like, it was on Friday morning at 8:00. Thursday night, there's quarter draws at this place. I'm getting... completely annihilated, which I do every single night. Then I got to race to my anatomy class and put my face in formaldehyde, a dead body. Fucking night. I mean, that is like, and to become a personal, like, it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to become a personal trainer to become an actor. Like, that is my whole life. I'm way over here trying to get over here, but I am coming up with my moronic mind, like, this is going to work somehow. So I'm taking the classes. I do exercise, all the classes. I have like a degree in communication studies and like a minor in health and physical education. Like 7 years later, I've graduated now from college. This is where I'm at. And I remember I took like this one certification like 3 times, failed 3 times, and then I ended up getting certified to the American College of Sports Medicine, which at the time was the most prestigious certification you can get. You had to have a doctor, and so after working at this forever, I achieved this nonsense. Still drinking, still drunk every single night. So then I got a job working at this health club in Kansas City. Things are going well. I'm making it happen. I'm doing the acting. And it's like really shitty things. Like I did a commercial for a hospital where it was like me and my new wife. They're introducing the new ward where if you have a baby, you can come to this hospital. And the actress was not very attractive. And I was a little bit bummed because now I'm presenting myself as if this is my real wife that I'm having a kid to. And I'm like, this is not right.
Yeah.
People are really screwing up my hustle.
How did you take ownership of that role?
It was, I just had to let it go, and you had to be present in the moment. And I delivered a performance. I had people come to me and congratulate me. They told me congratulations.
Thank you.
They didn't know that it was a commercial. They thought I was really, that's how legit it was.
That's good.
I was, big shot in Kansas City. Yeah. Wow. So then my first client as a personal trainer, this guy shows up and he can barely walk. He's like a really old guy. And I'm like, I did like his thing and I'm like, assessment. I'm like, this guy's going to fucking die on me.
Wait, is this here or in
Kansas City?
It's in Kansas City.
Got to start out Kansas City as a personal trainer. So I have this guy, he's a Monsignor. He's like a really big deal. He's like probably a famous Kansas City Monsignor priest, like hilarious. Now I'm drunk my whole life. I already had my Catholic school experience. I just have I would have been, he told me, look, if the people at the church heard how you spoke to me, you would be excommunicated.
He would.
Yeah, he said I would, that I would be. So we do this guy's kind of funny. He's I remember it became my first client. And I had my moment with God. Like, this is how it's going down. Dude's gonna fucking die on me. I'm gonna end up having my personal training one client, and he dies at the gym.
He's a fucking priest.
Really? Okay, so now we're doing the. So apparently he had been to a physical therapist. He'd been to his doctor. He had all this problem with the circulatory in his lower extremities, and it was bad. He was going to be bedridden, kind of sayonara. It's the end of your life. Everyone wrote him off for some reason. He was decided to go to the gym because the physical therapist was like, no, not going to work. So there's two different gyms. And he ended up going to the one that I was working at, and this was a nice place. And so we started doing it. We started I would do everything you're supposed to do. If anyone did this with this guy, he would have had success. He couldn't walk up and down steps. He had to take the elevator to go up one flight. So I'm doing all the the stretching and the thing. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm telling him crazy shit. I'm fucking hungover every day, telling him what I did the night before. Now I'm living life as if I'm on spring break forever. You know what I mean? I'm with, I'm going out at night and I'm with a different girl every night type thing. And I'm telling him the details about this. Living this.
Is he curious or you just
he's into
vomiting?
It.
Okay.
He's fucking, no one's ever talks to him like this. He's got a full on like lunatic giving him details about going to a bar, meeting a lady, getting just graphic details, and he's just wow. And this is, I don't, when you're a Monsignor, you're like we're a cardinal, almost like a cardinal.
Yeah.
Not that I know the whole dynamics, but he's an important person I've learned to figure out later. So he's making amazing progress. Now we're able to actually walk up the steps, so this is a period of maybe in the fall, and I moved in March. So 7 months. So he's making so much progress that I am now getting more and more clients. I end up basically becoming the top trainer where I couldn't take on any more clients. And then I had people booking themselves months in advance, fighting over time slots because I'm basically the Midwest drunk Jesus Christ. I'm fucking saving. I had people coming up, they see him and they can't believe how much he's progressed. Mm-hmm. What, oh my, and then, so then I had one of a lady, she had MS. She was on all this different medication and stuff. And I'm helping her to get her to walk. I'm Jesus Christ right here. I'm second coming Jesus Christ, alcoholic personal trainer. There's other kids in there. He's on 99 different medications. This other, it was just they would laugh. If somebody comes into the fucking health club, just something going on, they're there to see me. It just became and I couldn't really live up to this like level of but look, if you exercise and you do all the stuff you're supposed to do, your body can heal itself. You're going to actually evolve and you're going to have, really positive results. And also if you're eating well, and then doing that, there was a lot of weird characters too. There was this guy, I remember he was like, I can't, I was basically training him every single day. And then my friend told me this story that this other friend of ours, we're both at the same agency, good looking guy. And he was at the other gym and he said, there was a dude, he goes, dude, Jonas was at the gym and in the shower, this guy just was fucking cranking it. He's telling me the whole story. And I'm like fucking horrified. Like, good Lord, like what a nightmare.
Just cranking it in the shower.
At him.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that's
like,
a good detail.
Just really, it's a good detail. Like, I was like, wow. And I mean, look, today, if I was in a shower and some guy was fucking masturbating to me, I would be like, fuck yeah. I would be like, I still got it, but I was like, 25 years old or whatever, 24. And I was just like that sounds terrifying. So he's telling me all about this. Cut to like maybe a few days later. He's like, dude, he sees me, he goes, you're training the guy. That's the guy. He goes, dude, that is the guy that was like, the dude just bought like all these sessions, like every single day I'm training him for and I'm like, fucking hell, dude. I got this weirdo dude that's just, and he was like a pilot and he kept wanting me to go like to fly with him somewhere. I'm like, okay, serial killer. Like, fuck. So what I did was to not have to talk to him after, in between each set, I would have him get a drink of water and then do a lap. So there was no in between, like there was no talking. There was, because he was like, he drank 2 liters of Coke and he couldn't figure out why he couldn't fall asleep. Just like, my whole life is basically Dante's Inferno. I'm just literally just going through purgatory on different rings of hell. That's all it's been.
Does it feel like when you were saying that he bought all the tickets or the package, does it feel like at that point like you're owned by him? You're
well,
like, what are you gonna give him his money back?
No, I'm winning. I'm doing. You get an hour, 45-minute training session, and I'm just booking him back. I'm just fucking trying to make money because I'm gonna move to Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like at some point, I'm just doing this ridiculous. And I love the fact that I'm drunk every night, smoking a pack of cigarettes. And then I remember I wouldn't do any morning clients. I think I would only start at like noon or something. So this is going on. And then I meet there's a girl, really attractive girl who was actually with the same modeling agency or talent agency I was with. And we're talking and, chatting up the ladies as you would as a trainer. They're trying to get personal training advice or whatever. I'm literally in the movie Burn after reading this. Just like it's just moronic world. And it's funny because all the people that are in the fitness world are like, they're closet smokers, drug problem. It's fucking hilarious. Like people who become like a therapist are usually like just so crazy that they're going to fix themselves through therapy. Yeah. And that's why I became a personal trainer. It was because I was an alcoholic and I felt this was a way I could manage my drinking. And I would use like the sauna in the morning when I got up, to like try to detox. It was it's kind of ridiculous, like how you set your whole life up around drinking, but you have no idea that's what you're doing. So this really attractive lady that I befriended, she has this occupation, which I had never even knew was a thing, where she gave colonics. And I was like, hold on, you do what? Like you put a hose in someone's ass, shoot a bunch of water. Like, I'm like, I was like, this is beyond, like, people will pay you for this? Like, this is, the hell kind of sick, weird fetish is this? And mind you, she's very attractive. Like, I was like, wow. And so she wants to give me a free colonic. And I'm kind of like, was like looking at her as maybe someone to date or something. But then it became like, who's so into... Because that's a dirty job, I guess you would say. Wow, how would you even get into that? And I'm thinking like, what a weird. So after befriending her, and there I find myself at her fucking violate your ass with a hose, office where she does the colonics. I've now convinced myself the health benefits. She's given me, I've gone down the whole path of stuff that they believe, that's good for you. I remember she tried to put the hose in there and the nozzle was I couldn't take it. It's too big. She had to give me the child one. The child.
It's crazy that they have a child one.
Yeah, it was like I was fit. You know what I mean? Maybe I wasn't relaxed enough. Maybe there wasn't enough. I don't know. So I had that experience. But so while I was at, I think then when I stayed the night with her or whatever, and she was into like all this like self-help, whatever kind of stuff, which I started getting into because my head was so negative. Listening to like fucking Tony Robbins shit, like just because I have suicide ideation, so I'm at the place where at any day I could kill myself. So I have a very negative self-talking thing going on in my head. So I was like, it's time. We had maybe there was some self-help stuff in her world, and I decided the next morning I'm going to call the Sports Club LA, and I'm going to I'm gonna get a job there. It's time to go. Time to do it. So I called them up. I sent them, my resume. I did all the stuff I was supposed to do, and then I got an interview. And then so I set up. I was going to become an advanced personal trainer. Went to certification. It was in out here in Los Angeles somewhere. I can't remember. So I set up to go take that test and then come do an interview. So I make my way out to Los Angeles. There's probably so much more of the story I should have.
Give some. What is? I know, but let the many fans know. What Sports Club LA. Talk about.
At the time, this was the nicest health club in Los Angeles, and it was like this big place, like 100,000 square foot. This is where at the time. This is in 1998. This is where all your celebrities. It has like a valet. The parking lot is just all ridiculous sports cars. It's like very expensive to be there every your monthly membership. It's all, everything from your movie stars to producers to plastic surgeons, their clients that they're doing their experiments on, models, hookers, not in that order. Everything. Like there's just like every fucking character you could think in exaggerated form is at this place. So I come out and I do the first interview and it goes very well. I had to take an exam, I do all this stuff. And then they asked me back for a second interview. Did a second interview and I fucking nail it. And she goes, I remember the lady, she goes, look, I've never done this before because usually they have to do like 3 interviews, and so she hired me on the spot. I was like, wow, I did it. I went back to when I told my friend, I'm like, I'm gonna get a job, and the nicest health club in Los Angeles and become a personal trainer, and I did it. And I wish if I could go back, I wish I would have made my goals a little bit bigger and a little bit better, but this is what I went for.
Well, bravo, bro.
I've achieved my goal. I've been hired to become a personal trainer at the Sports Club LA, and then I have to wrap up all my stuff and gonna pack it up and move it to Los Angeles. I'm doing it. At the time, which was hilarious, my parents, I had my dad's Dodge Caravan because my other vehicle, I can't remember what I had to sell the transmission. I don't even remember. So I have a Dodge Caravan, which is fucking hilarious. But I pack all this stuff in there, what the little things I had, and I'm moving to Los Angeles. We're doing it. Coming to Los Angeles. So the priest the Monsignor, had a friend who was a television writer, and so he was like, had me connect with him and to go meet with him to go out to dinner. And so I'm like day 2 maybe, and 3, and I go meet with this guy. We went to the Beverly Center. There was like a nice restaurant on the close by there. What was that place? By Cedars, I can't remember. I'm early because years ago, like in '98, there wasn't a phone with a GPS, so everything was a Thomas guide. So I mean, if you're just new to Los Angeles, it is terrifying driving, and you have on the map trying to figure out a map, and it's just like coming from Kansas. It's a lot different. I look like a crazy person, and so I show up early because I'm so lost. So I show up early. I'm wasting time, so I go to the Beverly Center, and there's a woman there that looks like I think she's Michelle Pfeiffer. I've never seen a woman this attractive, because there's attractive people in the Midwest, but you come to Los Angeles, it's an entirely different. It's like every Marilyn Monroe from all around the world has moved here, and I was just like, oh my God, and so she's making eyes at me. She knows that I'm, not that bright. I'm from the Midwest, She can tell. Fresh meat. So we're talking, and she's like, you should move into my building. Someone's moving out. She lives in Hollywood. She said, you should live in Hollywood. And I'm working at Sports Club LA, which is kind of ridiculous to be going back and forth at the time. Whatever. So I move into this place. I'm doing and this is when Hollywood was seedy. I lived on Yucca. I lived at Yucca, right?
By the 101.
Kind of. It was like, yeah. There was like that. There's a bar there I used to go to. It was, you'd see a lot of needles, a lot of characters. I mean, it was fine. So, and then driving to work, you could start out getting like the shift like at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm just like, it was brutal. So I get hired at the Sports Club LA. It was a big deal. All these other people, all these other trainers, I was the one they all wanted to work at that club because that was like the pinnacle. Mm-hmm. It's like, and they're all looking at me like sizing me up, like, what is this guy? Why did they hire this guy? Mm-hmm. I was pretty fit. One of the things my friend, one of the guys I work for in Kansas City was like, you got to teach spinning. So I taught spinning to get clients, and I would do. Everyone would be like, they need a sub or whatever, and I got really fucking fit. I had like a resting heart rate like 42. I remember when the lady did my fitness evaluation, she was like, "Holy shit!" Like I was like elite athlete level of fit, and then, of course I'm getting drunk every single night too, which was kind of hilarious, but it is possible. So I'm looking good. Just so to set the context, I was dreamy. I was the type of attractiveness that I would be able. I had like gay men losing their shit over me, which was not really an experience I had ever had before. That was your welcome to Los Angeles. So I'm at the Sports Club LA. I'm doing my routine where I'm in the steam room. Or the hot sauna because I'm trying to detox from the night before. And this character who had been paying attention to me, he'd seen me. Because when I was always like a new kid in school. Everyone knows who you are. And you always have the crazy people come at you first. So I'm in there and this guy's telling me his whole hard luck story about how him and his girlfriend broke up. And then he was like, had a back injury and he put on all this weight and all this stuff. And like, was interested in having me be his trainer. And I'm like, wow, I haven't even started working. I'm just going through a training program and I'm already going to have a client. Mm-hmm. Like I'm killing it. I'm starting out strong. I'm coming in guns a-blazing. Mm-hmm. So I go, I forgot. So I have the place. I go out to dinner with the writer. What's the actor's name? Kyle MacLachlan from Blue Velvet. What's his name? I forget. Remember the movie Blue Velvet?
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah. So I'm at this restaurant, and he's sitting at the table right next to me, and I'm there a little early, so I'm sitting there by myself. He's by himself, waiting to meet someone, and MacLachlan. Yeah, I told him that. Yeah, I just moved here to Los Angeles. Like, oh yeah, and I told him I was, trying to do you like every loser. Like I'm trying to, and it's not being an actor moving to Los Angeles back then was like it was like you're saying. It's the lamest thing you could possibly be or even tell someone. And he was like, don't do it. He was, a man that's had, from experience, like, don't do it. It was kind of funny. It was like the marker in a movie, like foreshadowing.
Yeah. It's not gonna work out.
It's gonna get really weird. Just buckle up, little soldier. Shit's gonna get weird. You've just entered a new realm of hell. So funny. So then I'm training, and I have this my client who is a little odd. This guy's a little odd. He has he's a fellow ginger.
Oh.
But the one thing about him that was interesting was, you know, an interview with a vampire where they're missing those 2 teeth, and then your fangs are over one. That's how his teeth were.
Oh.
Does that make sense? Interview with a vampire. Yeah. A vampire's teeth is. So that's how his teeth were, and his birthday was 0666. It was 6666. So his yeah, and his 3 sixes. And I'm screwing up. It was 6, and he was born in 66. Whatever the hell, it was 666. A lot of sixes. His telephone number was 0666. Setting this up for you. So I remember the head, my boss is a personal trainer. He called, she told him to come back, and she was like, "Whoa," with the number, like Lucifer, basically. Mm-hmm. So that was my first client. Was I guess Lucifer or someone working for him. I don't know. It was good. So a lot of things happened. I remember the writer guy told me, he goes, if you see David Milch at the Sports Club LA, he goes, you need to get to know him. He's an amazing guy. He helps out actors and stuff. Solid dude. So this other my whole life has been the same pattern. I'm always the new person somewhere, and I always get a black friend who's my guy. Mm-hmm. That's introduces me to the lay of the land. It's every movie. This would be when I moved to Colorado. My 2 friends were the only 2 black kids in the school. It never fails. Okay, there's this character, because as a kid I desperately wanted to be a black man. Things would have worked out. I thought if I would have had, I was just a white person that's going to grow up to be more weird and creepy looking. But actually, if I would have been a black person, I wouldn't have done very well. I would have ended up in prison, just because I was a jackass, and I wouldn't have. So yeah, that wouldn't have worked out. But so. My friend, he broke it down, the lay of the land, who to stay away from, who to talk to. He told me who David Milch was. I was like, oh, wow. So I remember it was the next day I'm there at the thing, and then he's there, and I'm like, oh, hey, hi. Everything's meant to be or something. He has me sit down with him, and I eat breakfast with David Milch, it's kind of funny because I would be really intimidated by all that stuff. No, I don't realize how prolific of a writer and a show creator. He did NYPD Blue. He did a ton of stuff. The guy's a legend, brilliant mind, lived an incredible life. So I'm telling them that I want to work as a character actor, and there's a comedy. I pitch him a fucking comedy I want to make, which is right now it's hilarious to think that I would even say this to this guy. I was like, I want to do a romantic comedy where this woman has the pretend fake boobs, and this other guy has he's got this girdle thing that makes him look like he has a bigger package, and then he meets a guy at the gym that helps it, says it's a great idea, and they're going to sell this, kind of like that Ron Popeil guy that did and end up. So it's a whole story between this guy and this girl have this love thing, but they're both don't really want to hook up with each other because they're kind of scared about she doesn't think her boobs are big enough, and he doesn't think his package is big enough, and then when they finally do, it's it'd be the worst movie ever. It actually would probably do really well. It's so bad. It would do fucking phenomenal. I can't remember. It was the pitch was a little better than that, but whatever. He was really cool. He put me in an acting class, and I don't know if a show paid for it or whatever. So I'm things are moving fast. I got a client already. I'm in an acting class. This guy's show's paying for it. This other lady that I was she's like, you're a really good looking guy. Would you be interested in doing any modeling? And I'm like, I'm not really into that, but I had done some print work before. Cause you're trying to get a commercial agent, which is hard to get an agent, anything at first in Los Angeles. So a friend goes, no, dude, you should definitely do that because you would be able to then get into an agency. So now I got this guy, he's a manager, photographer, And it's always weird because it's all about like it's all about people testing you to see, like, if you're a young, good-looking guy, it's all about trying to see if you're down to hook up with dudes, which unfortunately I wasn't, which was sad. I could have been somebody, you know what I mean?
You could have
really. Now no guy's trying to hook up with this. No one is really. I mean, at this point. So so here I am, doing photos, working with all these different photographers, and that's how. And I got an agent. I was at a modeling agency, which was kind of ridiculous. And then I met this lunatic. So then at nighttime, I met these guys that kind of ran the nightclubs, like promoters that were like good-looking guys that had done modeling or whatever, and they would take me out every single night. So now I'm going. I mean, I've just moved to town, and I'm going to like these spots to be every single night. Like I remember the first night I go, my friends like, watch this, and so we go in front of all of these people. We go into the nightclub at which is the Sunset Towers at the time, was whatever night it was, and it's like, I remember it was like Glenn Plummer, the actor who's awesome, and then George Clooney. So they all know him, and he's introducing me to these people. Like, I'm like, wow, oh my God, I'm meeting movie stars and stuff. Like, that's kind of exciting when you're like just moved to town, which is what happens if you're an attractive woman. You know, you get fast tracking to meet all sorts of people. But I'm a guy from a small town in the Midwest, from Colby, Kansas, and just even meeting like a movie star or someone was kind of like it's like a big deal. You know, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know, so for a couple years, I kind of would go out with these idiots every night, like type of thing. It was kind of fun, and then I fell into the stand-up world. That's I went off track there, but it's fascinating to see entertainment people in the world. I know a lot of people that like they would just want to meet whatever their favorite movie star. But if you lived in Los Angeles and you're out and about, you could end up meeting a bunch of people, right? Who cares? It's impressive if you're in a really small town. Mm-hmm. The 3 people listening in a small town, like, yes, wow,
you're impressive.
Holy shit,
people.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was really great. I'd met George Clooney several times, and then he would see me, be like, "Hey, Jeff, how's it going?" And I would like, "Oh my God, George Clooney just said my name," like. Because at the time I was like barely existing person. So backtrack back to Satan's health club. So I'm at the gym. I'm training this guy. It was kind of weird. There's something about him that's off. I know now he's like on prescription drugs. So he wants me to run with him in the morning. But you're making no money as a trainer. You make they pay like $90 a session, and you get like $19.
Really?
Yeah, like you're not made. There's like the price difference is huge. Mm-hmm. So this guy had a hustle. His hustle was, I could. This guy's in his 30s, like whatever, 66 would have been like what at the time, 33. I don't even know how old he was. But
he was in his 30s.
Well, he was born in 66, and this is 98. So whatever the math of that is.
32.
Yeah, 32. So, so I'd run with him in the morning, and he would write me a check. And I asked my boss, I'm like, can I do that? Is that like a thing that I run it by? And she's like, yes, as long as you're not doing something you could do here. Like you're not like taking clients away and whatever. So I'm like, okay. So I would go fucking run with this guy in the morning, and then he would he's grooming me. Then he'd like buy me breakfast. I'm getting groomed by Lucifer. And then he would, his whole thing was like he was friends with all these different, he was friends with I forget about these stories. He's friends with Robert Downey Jr. He's friends with Christian Slater. And he'd act like I would just, he's like, you don't have health insurance? I got to get you in a movie so you can get SAG, so you can get health insurance. And I'm like, really? Like this is exciting. And then I'm in an acting class where there's like working actors. I'm doing intensive scene study. It's pretty exciting time for the young whippersnapper. Out every night, fancy people, things are happening. Got some doing photos with different photographers, and then I get into an agency as a modeling agency, but I have no interest in. I have no idea or care. And I remember and then I cut all my hair off, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing? You just did these comp cards." I end up crashing an audition with this other lunatic friend of mine, a Max Factor commercial, and Madonna was going to be in it. And improv a character. They let us choose a character, and I was like, I'll be craft services. And everyone's like the angry director, the producer, and they're just like the casting director was like, well, no one's done that. Like that was, so then I just did this whole fucking lunatic that's trying to, pitch the talent, their skill set as they're in craft services. And it fucking killed. They all it died. And then they put me on hold for that. And that's how I went in the modeling agency. I kept like, I want to do commercials. Like I'm not this is not me. Like I'm not this guy. I'm a clown. And so that's how I got a commercial agent. And then I ended up going to a bigger one. And I think I booked my first commercial, and I got Tav Hartley. It's a whole other story. We're back to the girl wants something about the fitness world. Back to fitness. The other trainers were hilarious. We had a party that we went to at this guy's house. I think his dad owned every single car wash in California, and the dad was like a big game hunter. So like the whole, and I don't think I'd seen a house this big before. Like there's very wealthy people like in Kansas City and stuff, but the wealth here is it's just beyond anything I'd really seen before. So in this huge house, and the entire floor is like every big game thing you could ever imagine, like bears, and like it was over the top. Like it was like you're in a museum or something of taxidermy. So that was upstairs. Then you go downstairs, and the kid who had the party, who was maybe in his 20s or something, his dad was into big game, and this kid was into getting photographs with him and celebrities on the red carpet. So it was an entire wall of this was like only in Los Angeles. You're like, how do they come up with these movies and these characters in Los Angeles? And then you come here and you go like, oh, they're just basically like, that's Ed, that's Jerry. Like, I mean, I remember the absurdity of like, who the fuck is dedicating their life to getting, but that was the guy's hustle. He was just into getting on the red carpet and getting his photograph with every single movie star there was. And so that was the first night I ever did cocaine with a personal trainer. Because if you're gonna do cocaine, you should do it with and when I in Kansas, I mean, I was into mushrooms, acid, smoking weed, drinking, but cocaine was really taboo. So was heroin. Like that's your ultimate loser. Yeah. Like if that is just, but I mean, listen, whatever would have been the cool thing to do, I would have ended up doing it, because I don't really there's no brakes on.
It's funny because the frontal lobe, if you were to ask a psychiatrist like what it is, it's just like, well, imagine the amygdala is the gas. The frontal lobe is the brake. Yeah. So if you don't have the... No, I can't. Yeah.
I'm not going to say no to any kind of temptation. So I remember we did bumps outside. I did this other trainer who was hilarious. And boy, I was on. I came back into the bar, and I was just, everything was amazing. I was making everyone laugh. I think the president of the club, he was like, I didn't know you're so funny, man. Like, we were having a good time. I was like, this is drinking and cocaine works. This is fucking great. That was my, which makes sense. If you're going to do cocaine, you should do it with a fellow personal trainer at the nicest club in the world at the time, at the fitness party. That kind of makes sense. Like,
of course.
It's not so, there was a lot of funny characters in that. So I remember there was the things moving forward. I remember someone called the front desk in the personal training thing, and my boss goes, "Hey, they want an actor, like a model, to be in this special effects makeup artist wants to shoot this film. You should talk to him. You might be perfect for it." So I'm talking to this guy, and he on a phone call, and he's telling me in great detail what he wants to shoot as a special effects makeup artist. And the whole thing is about how some guy is being tortured. Like the most horrifying thing ever. But he's telling me with such passion, as if he's like going to really be doing this to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I was just like, okay, yeah, that's like, what the like. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of thinking, you also have to remember, I'm thinking I'm constantly being fucked with. And I'm thinking like, either someone's really going to do this to me, or like someone's really fucking with me, like, cause I know I get it. I'm a fool. I know that like I'm a mark, You know, I might not know it at first and I'm getting completely bamboozled by something, but yes, people get that from me that I'm not, you know, I'm obvious. The intentions are in front of me. I'm like easily clowned or whatever. So there's this lady there, a little bit older lady, and she's kind of funny, and she keeps wanting me to go hiking with her and stuff. And then finally, yeah, well, let's go hiking. So we're supposed to go hiking. It gets later and later, and she goes, so I go over there, and she goes, well, let's just have dinner. So she's made like this like amazing like dinner, you know? And then she like, do you smoke weed? I'm like, yeah. And then we're getting high, and then she goes, you want to get in the hot tub? You know, and I'm not kind of a moron. I don't realize I'm being seduced until I'm like in the hot tub with the lady. Mm-hmm. But so and now I'm stoned, and when I get stoned, I've smoked so much pot at this point that it's past like the things are funny. It's past like you're kind of numb. And now it's just paranoia. That's where like I think it's funny when people are like 30 or 40 and they're just getting into weed. You're like, you're so lame. But if you start smoking it when you're really young, but you get to a point like after 15 years or so, then it's just paranoid nightmare. So I'm at this woman's house. She's like, wants me to go into and put on some like swimsuits that she has. And I'm like, I guess her husband has a closet there, but she's not married. But in the mind, I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm fucking like, this is some guy's wife. What the fuck? And I'm not going to wear some guy's shorts. Like this is weird enough that I'm here. So she keeps on like, I'm not, reassures me that she's not married or what. I just didn't really know what was going on. I was like, okay. So now we're in the hot tub. We're doing that. I'm there in my fucking underwear, but I was so fit back then. Like I had the whole thing. I look like a Calvin Klein model. You get yourself in some situations like that. So now we're back and they're watching some fucking weird insect thing. And then so we get it on, we're watching an insect documentary, which was bizarre when you're stoned.
Incest.
Yeah, no, God, no.
It's a great incest documentary.
Insect. I can't pronounce words anymore. So I'm fucking so goddamn stoned. Mm-hmm. So we have our whole thing, and she's like, you can't stay the night here. And I'm like, okay, yeah. The fuck would I want to stay the night here, lady? I'm just stoned out of my mind. Just intoxicated. I'm just drive home. I'm a pro at this. Yeah. But the thing is, I am in Los Angeles. I've lived here for not even a month. You know what I mean? I don't even know. I'm in the Thomas Guide. Like, hey, you gotta go here. This big map. Getting around was difficult. So I make it home. Long drive, and I'm so stoned. Now I'm living in this place in Hollywood. My apartment is a single apartment where it has like a window where there's a pool out there. Mm-hmm. I get home and then I forgot. I had a letter in the mail from a secret admirer. Mm-hmm. But you know how the serial killers do it, where it's like they've cut the letters out.
It's like crochet.
Block letters, like a serial killer movie collage. It says I've had a crush on you or something like that, and I'm like, no one knows where I live. Like, I'm like, how the fuck am I getting like? So I have that in the back of my head too. Like a friend of mine is a comedian, says, the first 6 months you move into Los Angeles, it's like you get jumped into the city. So here I am going to bed, in my bed, and then I wake up to somebody at the door that's by the pool where it's backlit so I can see their silhouette, and they're trying to open the door. Now, I'm so stoned. I don't know. I'm just sitting there like, don't disturb him, because I need to like slowly get out of my bed to get my golf club, why do I have my golf clubs? Like I'm going to be playing golf anytime soon at this point when you're just living month to month. Now I'm an action movie. I'm gonna kill the guy. He breaks in, like, instead of just like yelling or something. I don't know what that's. So this guy is like trying to get in, and I'm like, I slither out of the bed. It's quiet. It doesn't even make sense what I'm doing. Like I'm trying to not disturb him because I need to get the golf club. Like I get to the golf club before he fucking breaks down the way. There's nothing. There's no logic. But what's going on in my head is, the fucking guy with the movie that I think that I'm literally, someone is going to do all this stuff to me. This guy was graphically, telling me. And then I got this fucking, I got a crush on you letter in my thing. And then I just had like the thing with this lady, which I was like, what the fuck was that? Was she cheating on her husband? Was I just involved in some sort of shit? What the, what am I doing? Like that is just like, I'm just becoming like the thing you would never become. Like I would never want to like hook up with a married woman or something. I'm like crossing lines that I've done coke and I've like, I'm in hell, man. You got to go all the way in. So I crawl out, I get the golf club, and then the guy leaves. So I'm like freaked out. I fall asleep. I wake up next morning. I open the thing, and there's fucking like a heroin needle like right outside. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So I go tell the manager, and he's like, oh, that's whoever lived there before had been evicted from the place, and he was trying to come back to get his stuff or whatever. That was that scenario. And I have to. I'm glossing over a lot of stuff here. I got the apartment, but I couldn't move in. It was like going to be 3 weeks or something, or 2 weeks, and then it got pushed back another week because they were evicting this guy. So there was like a month where I didn't know anyone in Los Angeles, and I was sleeping in my caravan. I'm doing the training. I'm like this, and I have no way. I wouldn't be able to ask someone or tell someone because I just too embarrassed. So I would drive up in Beverly Hills and like kind of park, not in front of a house, but in kind of a middle between a house. I'm like homeless in Los Angeles in my caravan. I have my stuff in a storage unit. That's my coming to the city of Los Angeles. And then I would remember I'd have to go places and like, cause I'd know where to hang out. So I'd go to like some bar and drink or whatever. That's a whole other fucking world of stories too. Like when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody, I didn't know where to go. So I would like go to like weird like bars or whatever and just kind of like wait till it got late enough to go to bed, So I remember I went to the Beverly Hills Hotel because like, why not? It's hilarious. It's like the Polo Lounge. I'm sitting there drinking and I'm joking around with the bartenders and they I'm like, I just moved to town. I'm working as a personal trainer at the Sports Club LA. I'm whatever. And he goes, well, they're having if you go down this back way, I went down this elevator, I could end up, there was like a party for the young and the restless. They're having some kind of fucking like, and I would call these like Hollywood moments because I didn't take myself seriously and everything was a joke. And I wouldn't I don't have funny stories to tell my friends back home. So I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I go down into this like soap operas, like 50th anniversary, 25th, who knows what. So I'm telling people I'm down there and I'm telling them I'm a new writer on the show. Just there's no way I'm like the 25-year-old writer, just like telling all these people all different lies just because it's funny. I told this one lady that I got a student loan, but I used it to get a penis enlargement, and I'm out here to make it as an adult film star. But dead serious, like. Because people are so crazy in Los Angeles, that's, it's just whatever. I was just an idiot. So that was, I don't know if there was a funny story about that. There wasn't one. I just went on some tangent. But that was the level of idiocy. So I would go to like these places and I would just be these crazy characters. And I went to Cheetahs and I befriended a stripper there. That was a cool strip club where they would, I don't remember. They were this comes back around. So what's going on? So now I'm training. I moved in the apartment. I thought some guy was coming to fucking saw me up in his like serial killer movie that I was going to star in. I'd be one of his victims. Got the fucking weird I have a crush on you letter. So the guy that I'm doing the training, Lucifer, the telephone number with the vampire, fucking the whole thing, he's getting kind of weird, getting a little strange, really into like we're like I'm his younger brother he never had type stuff.
Saying that he's saying
like really trying to be my buddy, which is not, it's like. I'm the guy that's friend of the friendless. I'll be friends with whoever. But this guy's a little strange. but whatever. So he keeps on dangling like he's going to help me out and do all this weird stuff, which is like, okay, you know, sure. So I don't know when the first initial weirdness happened. So he told me a story. That's what it was. We're driving after like the run, and then we would go, like I would run with him, and then he would like take me out for like breakfast or something, which this was kind of a great deal. It's different levels of prostitution. I'm a fitness prostitute. You're gonna hang out with me. You're gonna get fit. I'm what you want to look like. That's what we're doing. Now I didn't realize what his real intentions were. And I wasn't sure. When it started getting weird, I would start saying disparaging things about the gays. So he would realize I'm not only not into it, I'm not gay friendly, sir. So it was. So
you felt it coming, and you preemptively kind of just said that stuff,
well,
even though you may not feel that way.
No, but in Los Angeles, you're at the Sports Club LA, and you're getting every creepy, weird gay guy asking you to stretch them. Like it's getting weird. Like I'm training an executive there. This gay guy who was hilarious. I love this guy. I would like go out to eat with him. Like he was like safe. He wasn't gonna like be some weirdo. I mean, he offered me $2,000 to just be like in whitey tighties, and then he would just jerk off in front of me. And I was horrified.
The guy, the cool one.
Not the cool guy, the executive. And I was just like, what the fuck? I mean, my rent was like $460. Think about it. Now today, not only would I do that, I would live stream it. I would tell my mother. I would tell everyone, you're not going to fucking believe this.
Yeah, what else do you want?
Like, dude, we can be BFFs. Like, I don't even, this is amazing. Like, but at the time I was such a prude. Now, mind you, I'm an alcoholic with no resources, and I'm freaked out by that. I guess I hadn't been like fully turned out by Los Angeles, but such a dumbass. $2,000. I could have been a whole business.
You would do this for $2,000 today.
Yeah, but I would do it for $20 today.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'd just be so honored. God, so stupid. So I would have my OnlyFans page going. You know, it's getting weird. And the photographer that's hooking me up, he's nice, but always like trying to see if I'm gay. Everything it's just like, and I'm a highly creative person, I was told, and so I have always had people think that I might be gay. So I'm kind of thinking like, well, it's just, you know, whatever. That's just what it is. I mean, who cares? But if you're gay, great. I'm not. I'm friend of the homosexuals. Big fan. Do what you got to do. They're usually some of the funnest people and hilarious. Okay, so I guess I got to get into this. So this guy, we're driving his car. This is the bad guy. This is Lucifer. Tells me this story that this past girlfriend of his, that she got pregnant and that she had an abortion. And then he told me that if I told anybody that he would have my ass so fat, you know, fired from the Sports Club LA. Like it was just this real psychodrama of like, I was like, what? Like, who fucking cares? Like if you like, why would anyone care? Like, and he let me know that like, he goes, you know, every time we go running and we're writing the checks, I will tell them that you were training me under the table. So he kind of did this
power shift,
like grooming process, like kind of weird type of thing. I was like, God, I'm dealing with a fucking lunatic here. And so that I don't think it happened right away. So there was another time we went out to we trained late or something and went to dinner, and he took me out to a strip club, doing like. So we end up going to Cheetah's, and it was so fucking funny because the stripper that I had 2 conversations with was on the dance doing the thing. She's swinging around the pole, and she's like, Jeff, like I'm in there with this guy, Lucifer, and he's just like, holy shit, like it's kind of funny, like to have like the stripper fucking say your name as you come out. So then as we're leaving, a friend of mine from high school and from Colorado, I lived in a bunch of different places, but I hadn't seen this guy in probably 8 years. And he goes, I run into him and he goes, oh my God, he goes, don't tell me. He goes, you're a stand-up comic. And I hadn't done stand-up, and I wanted to do that. I never told her when I was going to do that or even know how I would go about doing it. But it was just kind of one of those weird, funny moments, you know. Mm-hmm. Ryan is his name. He's a great guy. He would tell me, he's like, you need to become friends with Steve-O, which is kind of funny. Like all these weird things that had happened that people kind of, in college, I was actually, some of my friends used to call me Jackass. And this was, 5, 6, 7 years before the show Jackass existed. So I was a real life jackass. I was living it. Okay, so back to, this is so much to this story. It's kind of creepy. So the dude, I got really drunk doing shots, whatever, and then I was really, I figured this out many years later. I woke up, I was like a different kind of hangover I've ever had. So I was at his place, and he would not let me drive home. He's like, you're too drunk. You have to stay here. Fuck. So I end up, staying at this guy's house. I wake up the next morning, and something's weird in my nose. Like the hangover hurts so bad.
Were you doing coke?
No, but I was like something off. And then I went to the bathroom, and I had blood in my stool. I didn't figure this out until about 4 months ago.
Oh shit!
So,
I'm sorry. That's
welcome to Los Angeles.
This is like comedic, and now it's tragic.
Dark. It's very dry. So at the same time that this happened, Katie Couric, husband, had colon cancer. So I felt like, oh my God, I didn't put all this together. I figured all this drinking, all this stuff, I'm dying of colon cancer. I don't even have health insurance.
And he's gonna get you health insurance.
So
it's brutal.
I'm pretty sure I figured I was with my girlfriend, we were at Sundance, and we were talking about something, and I fucking figured it out. I was like, holy shit, this guy fucking raped me. This guy Bill Cosby'd me.
That's crazy.
He full fucking, like, the whole thing. I had no idea, and it all makes sense now.
I gotta interrupt. I mean, it's wild to think
that I got
how naive you were. Yeah. Like you didn't like. That's not the first thing you would think.
I would never think that people would be that crazy. You understand? I come from in Kansas City, where a friend of mine's dad's like a hitman.
No,
you know
but actually,
I mean? You're not doing shit that's crazy because. Yeah. You could get your world could get really. It's a smaller world, so people aren't doing stuff that. I mean, they are as crazy. Like
no, I get it, but it's also funny that instead of
you don't think when at a country club situation is going to do something that psycho.
Yeah, but it's funny that you immediately go to colon cancer. It was quicker to that than
didn't even know it was a possibility. Didn't even put that together.
Holy
and then
shit.
So then it got real. This is when I started to notice. So now the guy has still going. I don't even put it together. I'm thinking I'm dying of colon cancer. And it's subtly like, oh God, this is not good. So then there was a moment where it started getting weirder, and this guy is hilarious. He went from 19% body fat to 11% body fat. I'm fucking killing it. He's getting fucking super
results.
fit.
Yeah.
Now he's basically he's got his hair cut like mine. He's it's a single white female where he's actually morphing into me. It's fucking weird. He was taking drawing classes. He'd shown this to me. And this guy just wants to help you out, So he wants me to be in. He's like, dude, look back now, it's fucking hilarious. He's got me with my shirt off and drawing me, and I'm in shorts. And then he's like, you just got to make your pants go lower. And then he reached up and tried to pull my pants lower. And then I was like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
Then it kind of made sense. This guy's fucking this is next level crazy. So I was like, it got weird. I'm like, all right, dude. And then he got really upset. I think he got really angry with me, broke this fucking drink against it was just weird. In his mind, in his mind, I was probably his boyfriend or something. He's already Bill Cosby'd me. Yeah. I have no idea. So dark.
What did he do for a living?
I don't know.
Was he wealthy?
Everything was a lie. I figured out I kind of started to put together. He had a penthouse, but he wasn't but he acted like he came from a very wealthy family from Germany, and I think he was an engineer or something. Oh God, dude, this was like your fucking welcome to Los Angeles. Because this shit wouldn't happen in Kansas City. I know everybody. I would have fucking like ruined this guy's life. Yeah. Now I'm in a situation where I'm like, I'm thinking on, so, but I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, okay, so the guy's closet, whatever, that was weird. It's fine. Like, guy kind of made a move. I figured like, all right, dude, we're good. I knew since when I first met him in the steam room or the sauna, that my instincts told me there's something off with this guy. But my ego thought I could handle myself in any situation. You're kind of like young, naive, think you can handle more than you're probably capable of. So I started after this like couple month period, I started putting it together that this guy's probably full of shit. And so I started catching him in subtle lies. This is kind of coming to a head. I'm going to do a spinning class and he's going to join me. So he's wants to do it with me or whatever. He claimed that he was friends with Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. at this period of time was in the news a lot. I think he had just gotten out of prison. He had the whole, drug escapade. His life was kind of in turmoil. So he shows up at the Sports Club LA. And I was like, holy shit, I can set this situation up and see if they interact, to see if he even knows the guy. So I see him. So then I run down, I go up to Robert Downey Jr. and tell him, I go, hey, a friend of yours, a good friend of yours is looking for you. And he goes, what's his name? I tell him Lucifer's name, and he just goes, I don't know anyone by that name. Didn't even know anyone by the first name. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. So then I go right to him and I go, you're not going to believe this, but Robert Downey Jr. is here. So then he goes downstairs to pretend like he's going to go talk to him. I go down there just slowly to see, and then I have to go to the bathroom. So I don't see him anywhere. I don't see Robert Downey Jr. anywhere, so I just go in the bathroom. And the fucking dude, Lucifer, is in the bathroom, and there's like a small bathroom behind like the front desk where like the personal trainer's work station was. So there's like one stall, and then like there's a urinal, and then a bathroom stall. He is sitting in the back. I can see his shoes underneath the stall. So I'm like, oh fuck, this guy is legit fucking lunatic. Yeah. Let's just be friends. I don't need to train you anymore. I'm not into this whole scene, you know? Yeah. So he does not take that well. Does not take it well that I'm not going to train him anymore. So he goes to the club, and he's like, the last training session we had, he signs his name like really fucking crazy. Uh-huh. So then he goes to the owner. And this guy has like that swarmy, everything's a manipulation. He's addicted to pain drugs as well. I didn't know all this. Figured it out. So he goes to like my boss, tells him that I've been training him on the table, all this like stuff. And then it was weird because I was doing so well. Like I was like, I had people that wanted to open a gym that I would be like, and it's so funny because I don't care about being a personal trainer. Yeah. I remember I flew back to my friend's wedding, and this lady, my buddy was getting married in Kansas City, and flew back for, and this lady on the plane was like, so what do you do for work? And I'm like, oh, I'm a personal trainer. And she sat there, and the whole plane ride, which was like 4 or 5 hour, I don't know how long it was, but I had to hear about everything she eats and every exercise she does. And I have no interest in any of this, you know what I mean? But I just know what you're supposed to do. Brutal. So I was like, I just need to get out of the personal training world. That wasn't really my passion necessarily. Meeting a lot of weird characters. And that place, man, the Sports Club LA was fucking weird. There was like plastic surgery situations there that you couldn't even
dream.
It was fucking like, the Los Angeles is so weird. Like I remember you get to know all the different people when you're working at Health Club. This one guy was a plastic surgeon, and I'm like, so what? Do all you guys just hang out here and compare your different like convert? I mean, it was like this like Dr. Moreau or whatever. Where you're just. There was a woman there that was this tiny Asian lady, and she looked like Michael Jackson, and she had the biggest boobs, and it was like you couldn't not stare at her. It's like this fucking train wreck, but it's like a train wreck of P.T. Barnum circus stuff. It was like you, And then in your mind, you're thinking like, she must think everyone's checking her out.
Yeah.
But they're looking at her like, what the fuck happened here? How did this? So that was Los Angeles. I remember I met a casting director, like this is like the first week, and I end up going to like a Playboy party, but it wasn't when he was in the mansion because he had the wife, and we went to this nightclub, and it was like all Ferraris and all these like weird celebrities, and every girl there, this was like the Pamela Anderson days, so everyone had like these really big boobs. And then that was like the late 90s. And then in 2000, it was like Angelina Jolie, where everyone had like the big lips.
Yeah.
And then it became like Kim Kardashian, where everyone has like the big butts.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, what's the future, people? Big vaginas.
Yeah.
Massive vaginas.
Yeah.
That's the future. So I mean, Los Angeles was just like, it was definitely like you're going through purgatory of just the most absurd fucking characters ever. All right.
Rungs of hell.
Oh yeah, so okay, I got to get back to the facts. So the guy goes trying to get me fired. So now I'm meeting like the fucking like head of court. I'm meeting like I never would meet like the president of the goddamn company. You know what I mean? I'm training one of the executives who's like, I mean, like I'm doing really well. I'm killing it, right? And now I'm like this fucking, character. I remember they were like, I tell them my story. They tell me his story. And it looks like we're just in some gay relationship that's gone bad.
He's just angry at you.
And I'm in a place where I've never really been. I come from small town America, so everyone knows other stuff. So you don't really you're not going to do anything that crazy because it's like, like what the fuck is it? And I was like, look, I've worked at these other places. If I'm like some gay hustler, I would have been doing the same routine there. Just contact them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you look good and you're fit, you're clearly a gay hustler. I mean, I obviously knew, who knows?
Yeah.
So they were like, look, we gotta. They just realized it was better to let me go than for this guy's thing. So now I've been in town alone, and I'm getting fired.
Yeah, raped and fired.
Yeah. So I had like I've been like welcome to Los Angeles. So there was a girl that was in the salon that I was kind of seeing that was a little bit older, and her former husband was like a big shot attorney, like or old boyfriend or whatever. So now there's a moment where I'm in this acting class with these fancy people, and the show's paying for it. I've booked a national commercial. Things are happening, but I have like now I'm losing my job. And then I have this attorney that we're going to sue. We're suing everybody, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't really want to be a national news story about where a guy has been sexually harassed. That's not the goal of me coming to life. I want to be I want to work as a legitimate, I want to have a career like Philip Seymour Hoffman. I want to play like Steve Buscemi. I want to play like fucking weird characters in movies. I don't want to. But I'm actually living the dark comedy in real life. I'm not playing. I'm just actually living it. So, God, this is terrible. Yeah, I figured this out in Sundance, and I was. So
that, by the way, the clip that should go on Instagram is I got raped and then fired, and then just that story.
Yeah,
because that is.
Welcome to Los Angeles. You get jumped into Los Angeles. So
it's gold.
The thing was, I didn't know if you got fired, how would you ever get a job anywhere? Like, how am I going to put my resume? Like, why aren't you working here? Why are you doing this? Like, it was, and then I was hanging out with my nightclub friends that I would end up in these like really fancy, you couldn't get in there. I was also afraid this guy was. Oh, I got a phone call afterwards that he threatened my life. Like some guy called and said that if you ever show your face around there ever again, or whatever, so I got a verbal thing of threatening my life. So I was like, fuck, I didn't know what I was going to do. I booked this national commercial, but the money was supposed to come at some point, but it just kept not coming. It was like, I was so broke. It was terrible. It was terrible. I had to watch this one. My friend was, training this like celebrity lady from Hong Kong, and I had to watch her dogs, and she paid me to go feed them, but she didn't let me know that they actually can get out of the gate. So I'm on, I didn't even fucking tell you the whole thing about my vehicle situation. This is more jump into Los Angeles. I have this Dodge Caravan, and this lady runs the light and sideswipes my car, and we pull over. She gets out, and she's not I think she's from Mexico. She doesn't speak English. She's speaking in Spanish. And I didn't realize what I said to her in Spanish I said, hey, we'll get out of the middle of the intersection and we'll pull up the side of the road and we'll exchange information. I didn't realize that translated in Spanish as like, don't worry about it. I'll see you around. So she just fucking took off. Now, the funny thing is the transmission had just started going out in the Dodge Caravan. So it would only go like 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So good. So now I've gotten the threatening phone calls. I've got whatever. And then the guy calls me up and wants to meet with me. The guy that's got me fired from whatever. And then like, I want to kill the guy. Like, yeah. So I go out and think fast. I go out and get a tape recorder and I'm going to tape record this guy. That's and all that stuff. So then I was like thinking like, how do I, and now this guy would, I think this would happen where he would call my house obsessively and then it would leave and like, it was a fucking nightmare. Showed up at my place. Okay. So that didn't happen yet. So then I go to meet with him. There used to be a place called Kookaroo. A chicken place. But yeah. What a perfect place to meet. Kookaroo. Like, I'm going to meet this fucking kook. So I show up there, and the guy has the same jacket that I wear. And now, this is when it became, and he had his haircut just like me. So now I'm doing single white female. And I'm trying to think, like, what can I say or do that will make it so this guy will not want to have to, like, be with me?
Yeah.
So I told him I'm in the land of make believe and bullshitters. So I'm like, okay, I figured out that everything he said to me was a lie. Like, we're playing that game. I'll play fucking full of shit guy. So I tell him that the reason why I want to get like health insurance and stuff is because I'm HIV positive. He fucking turned white.
Because he raped you.
Yeah. And I have no idea. And now it makes sense. Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And he was fucking like terrified.
Yeah. And
then he was like telling me that I need to go back to his place with him because he has a way to fix this. I'm like, Jesus, this guy's going to, it's going to be like a dual suicide thing. Like he's going to murder me, then kill him. Yeah. Like it was fucking terrifying. So I'm like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So I'm in my vehicle and he's coming after me. And my Dodge Caravan only goes 35 miles an hour. Plus the side's been destroyed. It's just I'm living a dark comedy. It's but it's not funny when you're in the middle of all this. I'm leaving Kookaroo, escaping the Bill Cosby rapist who thinks I may have gotten HIV from me. What a train wreck. But that didn't work. My plot to somehow, I don't know. So now it's like I escaped from that situation. I ended up getting a job at another health club that's like in Century City, which was going to be a rival to the Sports Club LA. And they're so excited they're going to have me because they're like, oh my God, we got this fancy personal trainer from the Sports Club LA. Mind you, this is like a 2-3 month period of time.
Yeah.
I've only been in the city for 3 months or so.
Yeah.
And it's just madness. So I go to this new health club and there's no one there and there's no one there forever. But there's another guy that's a trainer who was hilarious and we used to have fun. And this is when I'd been starting to do stand up and stuff. And so it was, and I was out at all these different places. God, what a crazy period of my life. So cut to, I'm finally getting a couple clients. I'm kind of like, things are happening at this new place. I remember I had this this manager for models. They wanted me to go to Europe to build a book or whatever. If I was gonna, not that I was. Then I had some friends that were models, and they're like, "Look, dude, if you get over there, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get there, and you're not gonna be making any money. You're gonna get stuck, and you have to get to another city, and then you're gonna be in these compromising situations." And they kind of broke down like how the whole modeling industry works, like if the fancy photographer will shoot you, but he's going to come up to your hotel room the night before and be like, I want to give you a blowjob. And if he shoots you, you're going to be a millionaire. So I'm like, I wish I was into this because I could have really, you know what I mean? Like I was just such a dumbass. You need to be, could have made it. I could have been somebody.
Could have been fucking in a helicopter right now. Just flying to set.
Just could have been, Could have been a goddamn movie star. So, such a dumbass. people are listening to this and they're like, I'm like someone who's like a young person. Like, no, don't do what I did. It's fine. I'm not being serious.
Your regrets in life are like, oh, I didn't fuck that dude.
Yeah, but I'm joking. So I have a lot of funny stories about all that kind of weird shit too. Okay, so now I have this guy. I remember I picked up the phone one time, and it was him, and then he showed up at my place, and then it was a fucking nightmare. So this guy will not, and I'm thinking to myself, like, am I going to spend the rest of my life running from this guy? Mm-hmm. Like, because I knew that this guy was potentially dangerous because he had the ability I know that he could kill himself. This guy was dark. Mm-hmm. Like, this guy was not okay. So then I remember I came home after my acting class, and he's sitting at my place. He's left a note on my thing, and he's there, and I'm like, he tells me where my mother lives, her maiden name, her social security number, I was like, it's just, I don't remember what I said to him, it's enough. You know what I mean? Like, and somehow and I just was like, I'm not going to run from this fucking weirdo. Like, I had fantasies, like, I'm going to destroy this guy. I'm going to beat him to death with a bat. I have that level of psychoness. Yeah. Then going back and forth, like, it's not worth it. I want to spend the rest of my life in jail. Like, it's just a bad Coen Brothers movie is what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we are, God, I hope no one listens to these podcasts. It's so crazy remembering all this insanity. And there's so much more. This will be a really funny dark comedy. So now I'm working at this new health club. In Century City. And
you have clients?
Yeah, I have a few clients, barely getting by. I'm hearing stories. So I live with two other trainers that still work at the Sports Club LA. Oh, and this one guy was just... It was like, you ever have like the roommate situation where you're this nice guy? I would be out till like 4 o'clock. It's getting dark. I'm hanging out with a really fast crowd, getting like destroyed every single night. All VIP. I'd be in the house in the hills with some guy who's like owns a house that he's embezzling money for the China government or something. And it's just like all models and like, I would be like one of those guys that hung out with the nightclub members that would help them bring like the party back to their place type thing. Like, and I would just out with all kinds of fun people because I didn't care. So I remember it's like I'm probably got in like at 5 o'clock, and I would get home late. So I would try not to wake my roommates up, and I'm like an Indian. I'm like really good. Like, and so this new roommate, he would have like his mother call constantly and like leave these early in the morning, like it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, the phone's ringing. And like, you think that someone's died. When the phone's ringing at that time, you think, oh my God, there's an emergency. Someone, get to the phone, like, is Tobin there? Like, and I was like, oh fuck, dude. I asked him, like, could you possibly have your mother not call at like 5 o'clock in the morning? Like, this person's in his own world, and, so one morning I wake up and it's his birthday and he's gotten a guitar and he is just belting out a song. It's like, the sun hasn't even rose yet. I'm going to bed. God love the guy. He's a good guy doing the right thing. I'm this degenerate drug addict, alcoholic loser who's just hanging on by a thread. I remember going like, I'm thinking to myself, like, am I waking you up every morning? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, Am I you doing this because of whatever? And the guy was like trying to be a bodybuilder. He took all my pots and pans. He's like running like a short. he's cooking so much chicken and stuff and fish and stuff in the kitchen. He's destroyed all of my cookware. Like, this guy is trying to become like a bodybuilder, so you got to eat like the amount of food you're eating. He doesn't understand basic things like fish. He's like putting it in the trash. So it's like, dude, you come home, I'm stoned. It's Fisherman's Wharf. Like where does that smell? Like, what the fuck is going on? So then he's putting it in like the fucking garbage disposal, but it's not. Dude, it was a nightmare. Like,
the person that raised him calls at 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's just everything's bad. I remember I was so stoned one day. I went to like some Bed Bath and Beyond or some weird place and spent like all this money on the fragrant stuff to try to. I couldn't figure out how to get rid of this. I didn't know where the fish smell was coming from. Buying like scented candles. I'm a notch away from blowing my head off. You know, if I had a handgun, it would not have been here. What was I holding on to? So, okay, so then it's getting. I'm hearing. Oh, from my friends were telling me like I'm hearing reports that he's got some guy he's hanging out with his bodyguard because he's afraid that I'm gonna do something to him. He's telling all these people that like all these crazy stories, like I'm some dangerous person. He's really good. And then he fucks up and there's a guy who is like a actor on some soap opera. And then he just went full creeper weirdo on him. And that guy was like, whoa. And then the other guy that I trained, the gay guy, the executive, I'd still like would go out to eat with him and stuff. Nice guy. So then they told me like, well, so this guy ends up, I think, getting kicked out of the club or something.
For the repeated kind
for
of
being a weirdo. Yeah. And the guy's like, you could come back and get a job here. You know, this was like, and I was like, it was like, whatever. So that was that whole story. So what ends up happening is, how did it conclude with that guy? Oh, this is it. So I'm at my new job and I'm like the fucking trainer of the week. So it has like my fucking headshot, which looks inviting. I look very feminine in the shot. So it makes sense. That's what's going on. I'm putting out the wrong message, not even knowing. I get this gayish headshot with my stats of being the personal trainer of the month or something. Mm-hmm. So I'm coming out from my client who is giving me a no-show, and I see him. I walk past Lucifer, the guy walks past me. We just missed each other, and I was like, I saw him in the corner of my eye. And he was like racing to go to the bathroom. And I told the lady who does sales memberships, I'm like, you can't sell that guy a membership. You sell that guy, if that guy, you give him a membership, I'm not going to be able to be a trainer here anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out of here. And
it's good to have that kind of power, though.
Well, whatever. I was just like, and then this is a private club. So then I leave and I go over to the Century City Mall and I'm sitting there thinking like, should I go to Europe and do all this shit, which I have no interest in any of this nonsense. Yeah. Like I'm like, am I going to spend the rest of my life running from this guy? Like, fuck this. So I go back a long time later, and the lady who does sales is like, that was the weirdest experience I've ever had. He goes, so she comes in, the guy shuts the door, and she goes, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to be able to sell you a membership. Apparently, one of the trainers that works here, and he would not be comfortable with, And he goes, oh, well, that's because that guy threatened my life. She's like, well, why would you want to be?
That's when the absurdity gets turned around.
Yeah, like, well, why would you want to? Oh, dude, it was so great. So then that happened, like on drugs. Like, welcome to Los Angeles. So then they're calling, threatening. He's going to sue the club, and they had to like contact their lawyers to see if they could turn him down of the membership, and that was brutal. And then I got the news sometime later that he had killed himself. Like I think it might have OD'd. Tragic scenario, this guy. But I have to confess, I wasn't heartbroken by it. This guy caused a lot of turmoil in my life. Yeah.
He raped you.
Yeah. There was a moment where I remember he showed up at my place. Oh, he left like threatening letters, like he was going to, like I was going on my car, I would be killed. I remember I went to the police and was trying to file, I filed like I don't even call it harassment thing, whatever. But it was like kind of like a joke. They were looking at me like, I just look like like a bad gay couple, which is funny because it was just whatever. I guess I should have a point to all this stuff. That was your welcome to Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's a good way to put
it. You've been hired. Things have gone well. You've been introduced to the characters. You've been raped and fired. Yeah.
And it's been downhill since that point, 23 years later.
Yeah, it was good. So, now now my vehicle, I sold my vehicle for $850 for nothing. And then I bought a scooter. So now I'm getting around town on this little tiny Yamaha 125, which is not even like legal enough to be on the freeway.
Yeah.
There definitely was me on the freeway in full tuck, like Dumb and Dumber. Dead serious. Yeah, that was I remember the girl in my acting class said, she goes, she couldn't believe the stories I was telling her. She goes, if you ever make it someday and you may write a memoir, it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. And here you are making it.
Yeah, I haven't really made it in Hollywood, but
you're doing an oral memoir.
An oral memoir that could take maybe 5 years to get through it all. And then by that time, hopefully I will somehow luck into some kind of success before the planet is over with.
Well, the beautiful thing is that the crowd, your audience, which is forever growing, has 5 years of material to look forward to.
We could go on forever. There's so many things you gloss over. It's kind of when your life has. It's funny because when I moved to Los Angeles, when I was going to do this, I figured I wanted to do it because I wanted my life to be more an adventure. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to have a boring life where I got the proper job, got married, had kids, which that would have been terrible. Wouldn't have worked out. Was there a point to any of this? There's probably so much stuff to say, talk about. These people are getting a lot. Last week they got the PTSD trauma, and then I've only told one person. I only told my girlfriend when I figured it out.
Really?
Yeah.
So you just on air, but yeah. You've admitted you've been raped.
I'm a sexual. I'm a rape survivor. I'm a rape survivor, right?
Rape survivor, yeah. But also in Hollywood. So it's kind of like a meat.
If it would have been,
there's no power dynamic, but
it'd been better off if he would have been like some famous executive. But I've definitely had those weird situations as well.
Yeah,
which is what you do.
I just still can't believe though that you thought you had colon cancer before even questioning
Well, that was because Katie Couric.
No, I know.
Husband had it, and it was on the news, and I'm just trying to figure out I don't know why that's happening.
Your dots, the way you connect dots is.
Not very bright.
It's missing frontal lobe.
Yeah, frontal lobe dropped on my head so hard, I thought I was dead. That's what we're dealing with here, folks.
Yeah.
I was destined to be a Walmart greeter. Like fucking Forrest Gump out in the world trying to figure it out.
You're killing it though. I'm really grateful to get to be a part of this because it's magic.
It's a train wreck. It's just a train wreck that keeps happening.
Yeah.
I appreciate, folks, you know what to do. The multi-level network marketing opportunity of all of us making this into the biggest podcast in the world.
Ever.
So I can make more crazy songs and music videos. That's what needs to happen. And we got to make that. We got to make Silicone Wave. And I got a whole bunch of other songs and videos. And there's a lot more that I should be recording and making.
Yeah. You have an impressive catalog.
Yeah. More to come. This was my welcome to Los Angeles. I was hired, drugged, raped, then fired. I'll have to make a song. That'll be the way I can help heal myself. I can do a song about being drugged and raped. That is how good I looked as a 26-year-old. I looked that good that someone was going to was that much work to, take this down. Pretty fucking dark, man. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jeff Hilliard Show. Give it up to Jake, my non-paid intern, Ed McMahon in training, and let's give it up to Stacy. She's back there relaxing. Star of an upcoming short film / music video, Silicone Wave. Thanks for all you people paying attention. Bye-bye.